My name is Allyson Gaspard, and this is my financial analysis.
Good morning.
So for the first industry, we're going to look at the internet information providers. These companies include Netflix Inc., Facebook Inc., Twitter Inc., AutoHome Inc., and Grubhub Inc. The first company that we're doing is Netflix. Netflix is an internet subscription service that allows subscribers to instantly watch unlimited television shows and movies through different streaming systems, computers, tablets, phones. As long as they have the internet, they can go ahead and access Netflix. Netflix does business in over 190 countries. Competition includes broadcasting networks that stream movies, as well as DVD rental companies, especially Redbox. Also, another thing to look at for Netflix is Netflix will lose all their Disney movies by the end of 2018 because Disney will have their own online streaming service at that time. The next company is Facebook Inc. It's a social networking site that allows people to communicate with family, friends, and co-workers. They're able to share information, photos, videos, and website links, and they're not restricted to any, and they're able to share any information, and there's no restrictions in there. Also, Facebook has a Facebook app, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, and Oculus. Half of its revenue comes from outside the U.S. 95% of its revenue comes just from sales and advertising on the Facebook site, and it spends considerable time and money on research and development. The next company is Twitter Inc. Provides online social networking and microblogging, so they have a limit to what they can post at a time, and also has 85% of its revenue comes from the sale of advertising and 15% comes from data licensing agreements through promoted tweets, promoted accounts, and promoted trends. The next one is AutoHome Inc. It's an online destination for automobile consumers. It delivers comprehensive, independent, and interactive content to automobile buyers and owners. The last one is Grubhub Inc. It's a fairly new company. It's online and mobile platform for restaurant pickup and delivery orders. It assists dinners and searching for local restaurants, tracking order and reorder for convenience. Right now they have access to over 28,000 restaurants in more than 600 cities across just the U.S. So looking at liquidity, you can see Facebook is kind of winning at that. It has the highest current ratio, the highest cash ratio, and then also the highest quick ratio. Next, for long-term solvency, Netflix actually has the highest financial leverage, so they're taking on a lot of risk compared to everybody else. Facebook has the lowest, which is more attractable, as well as it does have the highest tier, so it can cover its financial leverage it is taking out. Next, asset efficiency. Netflix does have the higher assets efficiency, so they are managing their assets better in this industry. So now we're going to look at profitability. So here's our ROE. As you can see, we are looking at numbers from 2011 to 2016. As of right now, our AutoHome Inc. has had the highest ROE since 2012. So right now they do have the highest profitability, but the thing is, when we look at ROE, we need to look at the breakdown of it to see what exactly is driving that number. Because if it's financial leverage, you might not want to go into a company that's taking on too much risk. So looking at AutoHome, as you can see, their total asset turnover has increased over the time, but also their equity multiplier, so they kind of maintain the same financial leverage throughout. But as you can see, their operational margin did take a big dump from 2014 to 2015. And of course, we're going to look at operational margin as well as total asset turnover to see how well a company is actually using their money. Alright, so for Netflix, their total asset turnover has decreased greatly. Operational margin, well, it dropped. Now it's trying to maintain from 2015 to 2016, and it did take on a lot more financial leverage from 15 to 16. So right now they're not really that much, they're not attractable because they did take on more risk. So for Twitter, as you can see, Twitter has had a negative operational margin. Total asset turnover has kind of remained the same in the 0.30s. And then, of course, equity multiplier, they kind of maintaining financial leverage with around 1.5. But because of the negative operational margin, I don't find that company as attractive as the others. So for Grubhub, as you can see, the operational margin is kind of maintaining around 17, but it did drop by 1.12 from 15 to 16. Total asset turnover has increased. Equity multiplier is kind of stabilizing out between 1.24 and 1.22, but it is a fairly new company, so I don't know if I really want to invest in a company that just started out. And then Facebook, of course. So Facebook, as you can see, their operation margin has increased from 34 to 45. Total asset turnover is kind of remained the same, around 0.4, went up to 0.48. And then equity multiplier, so they kind of decreased with their financial leverage from 2013 to 2014 and kind of remained the same. So I believe that Facebook is more attractive for profitability purposes because their ROEs, they're being driven on operation margin and total asset turnover. So for the market value, looking at the market to book and price per earnings, Netflix does have the higher numbers, so they do meet that. But then for economic value, Facebook does have the higher economic value, but Netflix comes back with EV over EBITDA. Then looking at economic value added, Auto Home does have the better economic value added and spread as well, so they are doing that. So just a summary in this industry, Facebook does have the better short-term solvency, the liquidity, long-term solvency, as well as profitability and market value. For asset efficiency, Netflix is beating everybody in that, but in this industry, I would have to choose Facebook as the better company to go ahead and invest in. So the second industry we're looking at is the sporting goods stores. We're going to look at Cabela's Inc., Dick's Sporting Goods Inc., Shoot Holdings Corporation, Hibbett Sports Inc., and Big 5 Sporting Goods Corporation. So first for Cabela's Inc., it retails hunting, fishing, camping, and outdoor sport products and apparel, offers in-house clinics associated with the hunting, fishing, and camping aspect. It has over 75 stores in 35 plus states and 11 stores in Canada. It was acquired by Bass Pro Shops recently, and the sales breakdown, 50% of the sales come from hunting, 30% from outdoors, and 20% from clothing and footwear. Dick's Sporting Goods is another distributor. It offers a broad selection of branding, sporting goods equipment, apparel, and footwear. It has 800 stores in 45 more states, and is primarily in the eastern and central United States. Sales through retail stores on the website, and it acquired Affinity Sports and Game Changer Media in 2016. Shoot Holdings Corporation, through its subsidiaries, it designs, develops, manufactures, and distributes golf products. It operates in the U.S., Japan, Korea, and other countries. The U.S. makes up about 11% of its sales. Sales are done through on-course golf pro shops, selected off-course golf specialty and sporting goods stores, and other retailers. And then using the IPO, they use the IPO money from 2016 to convert their debt to equity, which is something they should have done. So Hibbett Sports Inc. is a chain of sporting goods stores in the southeastern United States that sells athletic footwear, apparel, and equipment. They operate in 30 or more states with more than 925 locations. Sales include footwear, apparel, and the remaining comes from equipment. Hibbett has increased its advertising expenses by $1 million. In this industry, these 5 companies, they're all distributors, which is something which is important to look at as well, because they're not sitting there developing their own products. They're selling products already developed by other manufacturers. So for the Big 5 Sporting Goods Corporation, owns and operates sporting goods stores in the western United States. Products include athletic shoes, apparel, tennis, golf, ski, snowboard, inline skating, fitness, outdoor, and team sports equipment. And they have over 415 stores in 12 or more states, and they're mainly in California. But with the Big 5 sporting goods stores, weather affects their sales a lot, especially for those when their winters aren't as cold. They can't really sell a lot of their snowboarding or inline skate options. So looking at liquidity, as you can see, Hibbett has a higher current ratio as well as cash ratio, and then Cabela's has a higher quick ratio. I'm more concerned about the cash ratio because that's the more liquid one, and so I would say right here Hibbett is the most liquid company in this industry. So for long-term solvency, as you can see, Cabela's is taking on more financial leverage, so they are taking on more risk. Hibbett is taking on the less risk within this industry, but it also has the highest tier, so it does have that money to cover the risk if they do wish to take on more risk as well. For asset efficiency, Big 5 has had the highest total asset turnover since 2011, so I would say they are managing their assets more efficient than the other companies. For profitability, looking just at ROE itself, Hibbett does have the higher ROE, but first we look at the breakdown to make sure that it's not driven by equity multiplier and things like that. So looking at Hibbett Sports, as you can see, the equity multiplier kind of went down, but it's coming back up from 1.38 to 1.41. Its operation margin is kind of maintaining the same, but it's taking a few drops off of it from 2013 to 2016. And then its total asset turnover is kind of stabilizing out between 15 and 16. Cabela's Inc., as you can see, it has taken on more financial leverage from 15 to 16, especially from 14 in that. Also, operation margin kind of took a dip from 14 to 16, so that's not really good. Total asset turnover did decrease as well. So since total asset turnover and operation margin decrease, I'm not really seeing an attractiveness for Cabela's profitability. So looking at Dick's Sporting Goods, as you can see, equity multiplier, it's kind of remaining the same between 1.9 and 1.8. And then looking at total asset turnover, it is taking a little dip from 2.11 to 2.09 from 15 to 16. Then the operational margin is kind of taking a dip as well. So because the operational margin, total asset turnover is kind of decreasing, I'm not going to say Dick's Sporting Goods is as attractive. Looking at Absolute Holdings Corporation, since it is a fairly new company, didn't really have a lot of financial data on it. So just because I'm not really aware of the different numbers for each year, I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm not going to invest in this company at all. So for the Big Five Sporting Goods Corporation, as you can see, the operational margin kind of increased from 2.58 to 2.89 within the past year. Equity multiplier did take a little decrease, which is nice. And then total asset turnover is also took an increase. So because equity multiplier decreased and total asset turnover kind of increased, it is more attractive than some of the other ones. So looking at market value, I would say that Cabela's has a better price to earnings ratio, whereas Hibbett has a better price to book. Cabela also comes back with a higher economic value in EV over EBITDA. Looking at economic value added, Dick's does have the higher economic value added, but it did start off with a negative at the beginning, so that's what I'm going to look at. And then Hibbett, of course, has a better EVA spread, especially since it didn't have a negative number in 2011. So just a summary, I would say Hibbett is beating everybody in short-term solvency, long-term solvency, and profitability. And Big Five is leading people in asset efficiency, whereas Cabela's has a better market value in this industry. So based off of this, I would go ahead and say that I would invest in Hibbett Sports. So the last industry is the entertainment industry. We're going to look at the Walt Disney Company, Time Warner Inc., CBS Corporation, Discovery Communications Inc., and 21st Century Fox. So Walt Disney Company is an entertainment company that conducts operation in media networks, studio entertainment, theme parks and resorts, consumer products, and interactive media. So it does have a lot of markets that it does create sales in. It also produces motion pictures, television programs, musical recordings, and bookings and magazines. They have 5 business segments, with media networks being the most profitable one. Revenue has been increasing over the past 5 years for Disney. And also they have properties in the United States, Canada, Europe, Asia, Australia, and Latin America. The next one is Time Warner Inc. It's a media entertainment company that includes cable television networks that provide programming, feature films, television, and home video production, as well as distribution and magazine publishing. The segments in revenue are as follows. Turner has 36%, Home Box Office 19%, and Warner Brothers 45%. And 75% of Time Warner sales come from the U.S. and Canada, and it was acquired by AT&T in 2016. Looking at CBS Corp, they provide non-fiction entertainment through educational television channels and offers consumer and educational products and services. The company has a diverse portfolio of digital media services. Discovery Communications Inc. provides non-fiction entertainment through educational television channels and offers consumer and educational products and services. The company has a diverse portfolio of digital media services. And then, of course, 21st Century Fox is a legal successor to News Corporation, dealing primarily in the film and television industries, and one of its big groups is Fox Entertainment Group. So in this industry, looking at liquidity, Discovery does have the higher current ratio, but 21st Century does have the higher cash and quick ratio. So I would say that 21st Century is the most liquid company within this industry. Looking at long-term solvency, Disney does have the lower equity multiplier and higher tier, so they are taking on less risk and they do have the money to cover what they are taking on, whereas CBS Corp, they do have the most financial leverage out there, so they are the riskier business. Looking at asset efficiency, Disney again is doing better in here. They're managing their assets more efficiently and all that, so they are more attractive in this part as well. So for profitability, looking just at ROE, CBS Corporation has had the highest ROE for 4 out of the 6 years, so I would say CBS Corp is winning for ROE, but again, we have to look at the breakdown. So looking at the breakdown of CBS Corp's ROE, as you can see, the operational margin is kind of decreasing a little. Also, total asset turnover is remaining the same, and the equity multiplier, they did take on more financial leverage, which I don't really see as attractive just because they are taking on more risks. Looking at Time Warner Inc., as you can see, operational margin kind of did take a decrease from 2015 to 2016. Total asset turnover is kind of increasing on a slow pace. And then equity multiplier again increased for them as well. Looking at Discovery Communications, their operational margin